Folks, I know it's MLB playoffs. And I know NFL season. It's NBA preseason, right? But gosh darn it, I am so pumped up that hockey is back in my life. Good afternoon and welcome to the podcast. I'm Nick Drago. Today on the show, we're going to be talking all about hockey. That's it, the whole show. No, I'm just kidding. How could I not be excited that my Yankees are up 2-0 over the Twins? So we're obviously going to be talking about some baseball recap and a little bit about what's going on in the playoffs. Of course, we've got to talk about the team I don't really want to mention, the New York Jets and their shitbag of a day against the Eagles. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't have a filter today. And then we'll talk a little bit of hockey after that. So stick with us, friends, because sports starts now. And welcome to the Sports Podcast with me, your host, Nick Drago. For those of you that are new to the program, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Let me tell you a little bit about what we do. We talk sports here, right? A lot of it. I like to give you a quick and dirty recap of what happened during the previous week and maybe some insight onto what's going to happen during the next week. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. You can find us on SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook. Just type in sports with Nick Drago. You're going to find our logo. It's a star. It's got, the word sports going across it. I also have my new podcast, Big Spoon, Little Spoon, with my buddy Jamie Grum, where we talk random topics, not just sports. So if you like the sound of my voice, you're going to want to tune into that. Remember, it's called Big Spoon, Little Spoon. Okay. How was your weekend? Mine was pretty good. What did I do? Got to see my aunt this weekend. Went up, picked up some furniture that was at her house. That was cool. A couple friends of ours came to Philly. I sat on the couch and watched the Jets absolutely poop the bed. How long does it take to get over mono, Sam Darnold? Can you please just stop having mono already? I mean, that's what you get for going around kissing hookers all day. All right, so beyond football, MLB playoffs have started, and oh man, am I so pumped up right now. Yankees are up 2-0. Astros are unfortunately looking good, but the Dodgers, they might not win. I don't know. Why don't we recap some of those games from the last few days and update you on what's been going on in Major League Baseball. All right, so let's start with the ALDS. The Yankees are basically doing what we expected them to do against the Twins, and that's clobber them. It's the same thing they've been doing for over 10 years with this team in the playoffs. Right now, the Yankees are up 2-0 in the series. They scored 8 runs. They scored 10 runs in the first game, 8 runs in the second game, and everybody on this lineup, top to bottom, is contributing in some way, shape, or form. The thing with the Yankees is they've won 105 games with half their roster. Now here they are, totally healthy, and they're ready to fucking mash the ball. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't usually curse on this show. Well, I did today. I just did. All right? Deal with it. The best part, on top of all the things I've already said, their best pitcher has not pitched yet. Luis Severino, who's just coming back from injury. He'll probably be on the mound for Game 3. Tanaka pitched the second game. And the Twins, I know they're hitting those home runs. They hit a few against the Yankees. They took advantage of Paxton, who's usually a pain in the butt with this stuff, letting up early home runs. Well, even those big dingers are not enough to get them past the New York Yankees. Now, for the Yankees, if they do beat the Twins, which it looks like they probably will, they'll run into either the Astros or Rays, most likely Astros. This guy, Garrett Cole, that you can see on the screen right now, for those of you watching our YouTube channel, had 15 Ks during their last outing. Astros are ahead 2-0 right now in this series. Now, two big things for the Astros. One, they are the first team ever in which their line, and let me think of how to phrase this. First team ever in which the batters had the least amount of strikeouts in the league, and pitchers had the most amount of strikeouts in the league. They are stacked top to bottom, which is what makes them so darn scary. Now, just because they have all those aces, Greinke and Cole and Verlander, doesn't mean that they're automatically going to win the World Series. I can think of two teams who had similarly stacked rotations that couldn't do it. One would be the 2011 Philadelphia Phillies with Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, and Roy Oswalt. They did not get it done. And Justin Verlander should remember the 2014 Tigers, where it was him, Scherzer, Price, and Rick Porcello. They didn't get out of the first round. So even though you're stacking your team with all these fantastic starters, it does not guarantee World Series glory. So do not crown the the Astros just yet. But, darn it, they look pretty dang good against the Rays, and they did edge out the Yankees during the season series this year. So, of anybody, I think they have the best chance. They're the monster to beat, folks. Now, the Braves and the Cardinals played Game 3 today, and it was pretty, I guess you could say, exciting at the end. As you can see, St. Louis did score early. They were up 1-0. I apologize, I have a nosebleed, so I might be sniffling a little bit. And then Braves with a last-minute victory. Top of the ninth, they scored 3 runs, and you can see how fired up they are in the dugout right now. That was a huge hit by Swanson. And Braves went on to win this one, so they're now ahead in the series 2-1. And the winner of this will play either the Nationals or the Dodgers. And speaking of the Dodgers, you'd think at this point they'd be up 3-0 and on their way to the next round, but that is not the case. They did win Game 1, but they ended up losing Game 2 to the Nationals. Wildcard team is giving LA a run for their money, and right now it's bottom of the third. Washington's up 2-0. They scored 2 early in the first inning. But again, a lot can happen between now and then, so, don't go nuts holding your breath just yet, people. Anything can happen. But if the Dodgers go down, this is going to be huge because it's going to blow the National League wide open. It seemed like LA was destined for their 3rd straight World Series appearance. But if they end up losing the Nationals today, it's going to be a tougher road for them. And, it doesn't mean the series is over, for sure. But it shows that they are vulnerable. And, the Braves or the Cardinals, whoever wins that series, is going to take advantage. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk football and hockey and then wrap this thing up, all right? So stick with us because sports. We're going to be right back.
Astros are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Hey everybody, it is Jamie Grum here. I am just trying to introduce you to a new podcast that I will be in with my friend Nick Drago. It is called Big Spoon, Little Spoon, and what we're going to do is just pick a random topic out of a hat, talk about it, see if we can learn anything, and just have a little fun. So if you want to contact us, see us, we are going to be on Facebook, Twitter. You can email us at wehateforks@gmail.com, and you can also find us on all of your favorite podcast apps. Look forward to seeing you.
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Bulls touchdown.
And welcome back to the show, friends. So recently I was told that my podcasts have been getting just a little bit long. So I decided we're going to shorten it up a little bit. The last 2 weeks I've only had one commercial break. I kind of like that. So I'm trying to stick to under 30 minutes per show. Yeah, I know I ramble sometimes. Just tell me when I'm talking too much and I'll shut the frick up. All right, let's take a look at some NFL from this week. A lot of games happened. Let's talk about it. All right, let's recap some of these NFL games. So, Seahawks beating the Rams. That was on Thursday. Seahawks last-minute victory there for Russell Wilson, 4 touchdowns for him. Looked pretty darn good, if you ask me. Ravens and Steelers. This game went to overtime. Ravens tied it up with a field goal in the last few seconds, and then ended up with a field goal there in overtime. Bears and the Raiders. Raiders winning this one. They were ahead for most of the game. Bears had a big comeback, though, in the third quarter, scoring 21 touchdowns, but it just wasn't enough to get them ahead. They did end up beating... They were ahead of the Raiders, and then Oakland kept control from there. Houston and Atlanta. This was a big surprise. 53-32. What a score. It looks like a college game. So Deshaun Watson, he had 5 touchdowns for the day, over 400 yards. And Willie Fuller, man, this guy had 217 yards and 3 TDs. That is huge. Eagles crush my Jets 31-6. I don't even want to talk about that game. It was miserable top to bottom. I ended up turning it off. Patriots, of course, beat the Redskins. Now, Redskins scored early, and it was actually the first time the Patriots were not winning all season. I'm dead serious. They've never not had the lead all season. Anyway, it ended up being 33-7 in favor of New England, and of course they are 5-0. Panthers and the Jags. Gardner Minshew loses his first game so far this year. Panthers look pretty darn good, scoring 34 points. Saints and Bucks, 31-24. That one went in favor of the Saints. Vikings beat the Giants 28-10. Daniel Jones looked fairly good at first in the game, but man, those Vikings, they got it. Stephon Diggs still did like nothing, so expect him to be traded sometime in the next week. Cardinals and Bengals. Bengals came really close to winning their first game of the season. There's actually 2 winless teams going head-to-head. Cards ended up with it 26-23. The Bengals came really close, though, at the end. They were pushing for that field goal to get them into overtime. Didn't work their way. Bills win again, 4-1 now for the season. They're 14. They won 14-7 over the Titans. Broncos and Chargers. Melvin Gordon returning to the lineup for the Chargers, and he really didn't do all that much. 31 yards on 12 carries. Meanwhile, Eckler, his backup during this whole time, had 86 yards receiving and about 7 yards with 3 carries. So Eckler still looked pretty darn good. But at the end of the day, the Broncos finally end up with a win for the season. Packers and Cowboys, oh my gosh, my boy Jones. He had 107 yards, 4 touchdowns on the day. Aaron Rodgers threw 0 touchdowns. That's how good the running game was for the Packers. They won 34-24. And right now, the Colts are taking on the Chiefs. And that score you see up on the screen is actually incorrect. It's 7-3 with about a minute to go in the first quarter. Chiefs have the ball currently. They're undefeated, and let's be real, they have Pat Mahomes, so there's a good chance they're going to end up winning this game. But so far, so good for Jacoby Brissett. And the Browns and 49ers, they'll play tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you're excited for that game, why are you excited for that game? Do you live in Cleveland, or do you live in San Francisco? I don't really know. I'm just kidding around. No, it should be a fun game. Browns are looking to take advantage take advantage of the Steelers being a not so great team this year, and hopefully be number 2 behind Baltimore. I just don't see them being better than the Ravens. I'm sorry, Browns fans, but either way, let's take a look at the standings while I'm chatting about it. All right, AFC Patriots, of course, on top. They're 5-0. Bills right behind them at 4-1. Dolphins and Jets still looking for their first win of the season. AFC North, the Ravens prove that they are the best team in this division, beating the Steelers today. They're now 3-2. Browns are 2-2. Steelers 1-4, and the Bengals are 0-5. AFC South, the Texans are ahead 3-2. Colts, will find out what happens with them in this late game. They could be tied with the Texans for first place, or they could be down there with the Jags and Titans, who are both 2-3. AFC West now. The Chiefs are still on top 4-0. We'll see again what happens with them. Raiders with the win today. Actually, 2 straight wins. Raiders are 3-2 in second place. Chargers and Broncos are not looking so great. Chargers 2-3. Broncos 1-4. Let's move over to the NFC C, where you'd see the Cowboys are on top of the NFC East. They did lose their last 2 games, though. Things not looking so great for Jerry Jones and those Cowboys. Eagles winning 2, meanwhile. They're looking a little bit better, and the Eagles could end up taking this division from Dallas. Giants were sitting pretty last week, 2-2. They did lose today. Redskins still looking for their first win of the season. NFC North, the Packers are ahead 4-1. Lions 2-1-1. They did have that one tie first week of the season. Lions got their first regulation loss, their first loss, I suppose you could say, today. Bears and Vikings, they're both 3-2, so this division is still pretty wide open. NFC South, the Saints are on top, 4-1. Panthers right behind them at 3-2. They've won their last 3 games. That's right, Panthers started 0-2. Now they're looking better. That Cam Newton's not playing. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 2-3, and then right behind them are the Falcons 1-4. Come on, Falcons, what is this? 49ers are in first place in the NFC West. They are 3-0. Of course, they still play the Browns tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. Seahawks won their last 2. They're 4-1. Rams are 3-2. And the Cardinals getting their first win of the season today. They are 1-3-1. And before we finish the show, of course, I gotta talk hockey. You know I love it. Bunch of Canadians on the ice knocking the teeth out of each other. Who doesn't want that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm a big hockey fan. The Penguins are my team of choice, but there's a lot of excitement going on all over the league. Some surprise teams, top and bottom this year. And again, it's still early, so, we'll see how it shakes out. But let's take a look at this weekend's games. And let's look at the hockey scores for this weekend. Rangers beat the Senators on Saturday 4-1. Panthers got the best of the Lightning 3-4. Good work, Panthers. Hurricanes beat the Capitals in overtime. Suck it, Washington. Hurricanes 2-0 so far this season. Canadians beat the Maple Leafs 7-5. Penguins beat the Blue Jackets 7-2. Sidney Crosby won a fight in the game. What? Actually looked pretty darn good doing it. Le Sabres, they win again, 7-2. They're looking pretty good so far, sitting pretty at 2-0. Blues, they won 3-2 over the Stars. Red Wings got a win 5-3 over the Predators. The Bruins, they won 1-0 over the Coyotes, who are 0-2. Phil Kessler not starting out good for the Coyotes. Avalanche, they got a win 2-4 over the Wild. The Oilers beat the Kings 5-6. Flames beat the Canucks 3-0, and the Ducks won 3-1 over the Sharks. Sharks, by the way, haven't won a single game, which is a little weird. And let's look real quick at today's game. Hurricanes beat the Lightning in overtime. They're now 3-0 on the season. Islanders looking to get their first win so far. They're beating the Jets 4-1. And then the Red Wings and Stars are currently tied at 3-3. And here are the standings so far in the Atlantic. Maple Leafs on top, undefeated, 5 points. Sabres right behind them, and the Bruins, all 3 of them have yet to lose, although the Maple Leafs did have that one loss in overtime. Canadians are in 4th, and then you got the Lightning, the Red Wings, the Panthers, and the Senators. It's so early in the season, though. These standings really don't matter all that much. Moving into the Metro, the Hurricanes are on top. They're 3-0. Capitals are right behind them. And then the Rangers haven't lost yet so far. Flyers have only played 1 game, and they won it. Penguins are 1-1, and then you got the Devils, Islanders, and, almost cut off the Blue Jackets, who are winless. Moving into the West. That was the Eastern Conference. Now we got the Western Conference. Avalanche on top in the Central, followed by the Blues, Predators, and then the Jets. By the way, Avalanche are the only team in this division who has yet to lose a game. Blues, Preds, Jets, Blackhawks, Stars, and Wild have all lost one so far, whether it be in regulation or OT. In the Pacific, the Golden Knights continue to shine and shine well. Behind them, they have the Ducks and the Oilers. All 3 have not lost a single game so far. And then you got the Flames, Kings, Coyotes, Canucks. And how are the Sharks How would they not won a game? They're getting old, that's why. Sharks are in dead last place. So, again, it's still early on, so a lot of this stuff's going to change as the season goes. All right, friends, we're gonna wrap this thing up. How do I usually do that? By giving special thanks, of course, to Johanna Drago. She is the content editor, logo designer, and set designer of this podcast. She's also my wife, so I love her. And it's our first year anniversary on Monday, so feel free to wish both of us, myself, her, whichever one, a happy anniversary. Or you could sit there and not do that and just be a real jerk about it. Yeah, I'm watching you, real jerk at home. Doesn't want to wish us a happy anniversary. That's fine. It's fine. The music for this show is a song called Golden Sunrise by Josh Woodward. A link to his website can be found in the show notes. Of course, special thanks to our social media warriors such as Mary Kay Albert, Joe Calabro, and others. There's starting to get to be a lot of you, and so it's really hard to pick out every single one. But if you want to leave a comment or a question or anything else in our comment section, feel free to, and I'll put it up on the show. I'll literally talk about anything. So, feel free. Go nuts, friends. Let's see. What else do I have to do? That's it. I don't have to thank anybody else. If you like what you heard, find us on SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook. Again, type in Sports with Nick Drago. That's me. You can check out my other podcast, Big Spoon, Little Spoon, and you can also email me at sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. Again, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. I guarantee I check it once a month or so. So if I'm a little slow at getting back to you, Facebook's the way to go. And I think that's it. Like, comment, share, Twitter at us, and shoot us an email. Friends, I've had an enjoyable time spending time with you. Much better than I spent time with the Jets today. So, thank you so much for joining me on another exciting episode of Sports with Nick Drago. We will not be airing an episode next week because I'm just going to be on vacation and I'm getting back, and I'm going to be too tired and lazy to do one. So don't expect an episode from me next week, but when I come back, holy moly, we're going to have a lot to talk about because by then we'll be at the championship series for baseball. Hockey's going to be a couple weeks in, so we'll have more to talk about, and basketball will be starting because that's exciting. All right, I'm starting to ramble. All right, friends, thanks again for joining me. I love you. Good night, and of course, caw-caw!